Welcome, dear friend. Take a moment and look around you right now. What do you see? Objects, possessions, things. So many things, aren't there? Now, imagine if I told you that most of what surrounds you might actually be holding you back from true happiness. Have you ever cleaned out a closet and felt an incredible wave of relief? Or deleted old files from your computer and experienced a surprising sense of freedom? That wasn't just about creating physical space. It was your spirit breathing again. What if I told you that the path to a more peaceful existence isn't about adding more to your life, but quietly removing what no longer serves you? In this journey together, I'm going to share with you 11 things that the wisest souls throughout history have learned to eliminate from their lives. Not with dramatic announcements or grand gestures, but quietly, deliberately, one day at a time. The first of these, and perhaps the foundation for all that follows, is something so common that most people never question it: our attachment to material possessions. This might just be the invisible chain that's been weighing you down without you even realizing it. Think about your living space for a moment. Each item you own requires something from you: space to store it, time to clean it, energy to maintain it, and attention to manage it. When we accumulate unnecessarily, we create hidden roots of suffering in our lives. That beautiful jacket you never wear, the gadgets collecting dust, the boxes of mementos you haven't looked at in years, they all take up not just physical space, but mental space too. Many people believe that having more things will make them happier or more secure. But the wise ones have always known a profound truth: the more you own, the more you have to worry about. Each possession becomes another link in the chain that binds your attention and freedom. When your home is cluttered with things, your mind often becomes cluttered too. There's a simple practice you can try. Choose one area of your home, a drawer, a shelf, or even just your desk. Look at each item and ask yourself, does this truly add value to my life? Does it serve a purpose or bring me genuine joy? If the answer is no, perhaps it's time to let it go. The beauty of simplifying your space isn't about deprivation. It's about creating room for what truly matters. When you clear physical clutter, something unexpected happens. Your mind feels lighter too. You begin to notice a sense of spaciousness in your thoughts, similar to the new openness in your home. Understanding that everything is temporary helps us hold our possessions more lightly. Nothing lasts forever, not your smartphone, your car, or even your home. When we truly accept this, our grip on things naturally loosens. Try this. Hold something valuable to you in your hands. Acknowledge that one day, this object will break, wear out, or no longer be in your life. How does that change how you feel about it? The practice of generosity transforms the process of letting go from one of loss to one of giving. When you pass along items you no longer need to someone who could use them, you convert clutter into kindness. The jacket gathering dust in your closet could keep someone warm this winter. The books you've already read could open new worlds for another person. Remember, eliminating material attachment doesn't mean you must live with empty rooms and bare walls. It simply means being intentional about what you allow into your life and being willing to release what no longer serves you. As you quietly let go of excessive possessions, notice how much lighter you feel, how much clearer your mind becomes, and how much more space you have, not just in your home, but in your heart. Now, let's turn our attention to something even more important than the objects in your life: the people. Just as physical clutter can drain your energy, certain relationships can deplete your spirit day after day. Think about how you feel after spending time with different people in your life. Some leave you feeling energized, inspired, and more like yourself. Others leave you feeling drained, smaller, or somehow less than who you truly are. These energy-draining connections are what we might call toxic relationships. You might recognize these relationships by how your body responds before you even meet the person. That knot in your stomach, the slight tightening in your chest, or the subtle feeling of dread. Your body often recognizes what your mind isn't ready to admit. This connection is no longer serving your highest good. This isn't about judging others as bad people. Everyone is walking their own path, carrying their own burdens. But not everyone is meant to walk alongside you for your entire journey. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for both yourself and the other person is to create some distance. Compassion doesn't mean allowing others to treat you poorly. True compassion includes yourself, and sometimes it requires setting clear boundaries. You can honor someone's humanity while also saying, "This behavior isn't acceptable in my life." Think of boundaries not as walls, but as loving guidelines that teach others how to treat you. When it's time to step back from a harmful relationship, you don't need drama or confrontation. Often, the wisest approach is a gentle fading, reducing contact gradually while wishing the other person well on their path. This creates space for both of you to grow in the directions you need to go. As you create distance from draining relationships, you'll find yourself with more energy to nurture connections that help you flourish. Seek out people who reflect your values, who challenge you to grow in healthy ways, and who celebrate your successes without jealousy. These are the relationships that will support your spiritual journey rather than hinder it. Remember that you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose these companions wisely as they shape who you become. When you surround yourself with those who are kind, mindful, and genuine, you naturally develop these qualities within yourself. Letting go of toxic relationships creates space for healthier ones to enter your life. Just as removing clutter from your home makes room for what truly matters, releasing unhealthy connections makes space for relationships that nourish your spirit and support your growth. After looking at our relationship with possessions and with others, we now turn to perhaps the most important relationship of all, the one with yourself. Listen closely to the voice inside your head for a moment. Is it kind and encouraging or harsh and judgmental? For many of us, that inner voice can be our cruelest critic. You wouldn't speak to a dear friend the way you sometimes speak to yourself. You're so stupid. You always mess things up. You'll never be good enough. These thoughts may seem harmless, just thoughts, after all, but they create real suffering. They're like poison that you willingly drink, expecting someone else to get sick. This inner critic wasn't born with you. It developed over time as you absorbed messages from parents, teachers, peers, and society. You learned to judge yourself through others' eyes and forgot how to see yourself through eyes of kindness. The good news is that what is learned can be unlearned. Start by simply noticing this inner dialogue without trying to change it. Become a friendly observer of your thoughts. There's that critical voice again. This creates a small but powerful space between you and the thought. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that notices them. When you catch yourself in harsh self-talk, try this simple practice. Place a hand on your heart and speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend who is struggling. This is hard right now. It's okay to make mistakes. You're doing your best. This might feel strange at first, but with practice, it becomes more natural. The wise ones have always taught that true strength comes not from perfection, but from how we respond to our imperfections. Being kind to yourself isn't self-indulgence. It's the foundation of wisdom and genuine confidence. When you treat yourself with patience and understanding, you become better at extending those qualities to others as well. Try rewriting the stories you tell about yourself. Instead of "I'm so disorganized," try "I'm learning to create systems that work better for me." Instead of "I always say the wrong thing," try "I'm practicing clearer communication." These small shifts in language create new pathways in your mind. A daily practice of loving kindness meditation can gradually transform your relationship with yourself. Start by sitting quietly and repeating simple phrases. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. Let these wishes sink in. You deserve kindness as much as anyone else in the world. When you begin to treat yourself with compassion, something remarkable happens. The energy you once spent criticizing yourself becomes available for growth and creativity. You make better choices not from fear of inner punishment, but from genuine care for your own well-being. We've examined our relationship with possessions, with others, and with ourselves. Now, let's look at something that affects all three: our habits of consumption. In today's world, we're constantly consuming not just food, but information, entertainment, products, and experiences. Often, this consumption happens on autopilot without awareness or intention. Notice how you eat your meals. Are you truly tasting each bite, or are you scrolling through your phone, watching TV, or lost in thought? Mindless eating not only diminishes your enjoyment of food, but also disconnects you from your body's natural signals of hunger and fullness. Try this simple practice. For just one meal today, put away all distractions. Notice the colors, smells, textures, and flavors of your food. Chew slowly. This isn't just about enjoying your meal more. It's about being fully present for a basic activity that sustains your life. The same mindlessness often extends to how we consume information. Many of us start and end our days by flooding our minds with news, social media, and entertainment. This constant input creates a noisy mental environment where peace becomes nearly impossible. Try a simple experiment. Delay checking your phone for the first hour after waking up. Instead, set an intention for your day or simply enjoy the quiet. Notice how different your mind feels with this small change. Our shopping habits often follow similar unconscious patterns. That momentary thrill of buying something new quickly fades, leading to another purchase and another. Notice what triggers your impulse to buy: boredom, stress, social comparison. By becoming aware of these triggers, you create space to choose a different response. Before making a purchase, try waiting 24 hours. If you still want the item tomorrow, and it truly adds value to your life, then consider buying it. Often, you'll find the urge has passed. There are subtler forms of consumption that can cloud our awareness as well. Notice your relationship with substances like alcohol, caffeine, or even sugar. Do they enhance your life, or have they become automatic habits that dull your experience? This isn't about rigid rules or deprivation. It's about bringing consciousness to choices that affect your mental clarity. Try reducing your intake of one substance for a week and notice any changes in your energy, mood, or clarity of mind. By bringing awareness to your patterns of consumption, whether of food, media, products, or substances, you reclaim your power to choose. Each mindful choice creates a small shift in consciousness. These shifts may seem insignificant on their own, but together they lead to a life of greater presence, satisfaction, and freedom from the cycle of craving and temporary fulfillment that drives mindless consumption. As we continue our journey of letting go, we come to something that silently steals joy from countless lives: the habit of comparing yourself to others. In this age of social media, where everyone's highlight reel is on constant display, this habit has become more damaging than ever before. Have you noticed how quickly a perfectly good day can be ruined by scrolling through your feed and seeing someone's vacation photos, career announcement, or seemingly perfect family? Suddenly, your own life feels inadequate by comparison. This isn't a coincidence. It's the natural result of comparison, which the wise ones have long recognized as a thief of joy. The root of comparison lies in a basic misunderstanding: the belief that our worth is relative to others rather than inherent in our being. When we compare, we're looking outward for validation that can only truly come from within. It's like searching for your reflection in someone else's mirror. You'll only see a distorted image of yourself. Next time you feel that twinge of envy, pause and notice it with curiosity rather than judgment. There's comparison arising. Then gently remind yourself that you're seeing only a carefully curated fraction of someone else's reality. Behind those perfect photos are struggles, insecurities, and challenges that you never see. Everyone suffers. Everyone experiences joy. These are universal truths of human existence. Remember that your path is uniquely yours. The ancient teachings remind us that each person's journey has its own timing, its own lessons, and its own expression. A rose doesn't rush to bloom because the lily opened sooner, nor does the oak tree hurry its growth because the bamboo grew faster. In nature, each being develops according to its own nature, and so it is with humans. When comparison does arise, try this perspective shift. Instead of letting it fuel envy or inadequacy, let it inspire you. If someone's artistic expression moves you, let it awaken your own creativity. If someone's kindness touches you, let it inspire your own generosity. In this way, what could be poison becomes medicine. Comparison transforms from a source of suffering to a catalyst for growth. A powerful antidote to comparison is the practice of appreciating your unique gifts. Each evening, take a few moments to acknowledge something you did well or a quality you appreciate in yourself. Perhaps you were patient with a difficult person, or you persevered through a challenging task, or you simply noticed the beauty of the sunset. These moments of self-appreciation build a stronger foundation of inner validation. The practice of contentment, finding satisfaction in what you already have and who you already are, is revolutionary in a culture that profits from your feelings of lack. Each time you pause to feel gratitude for your life exactly as it is, you're directly countering the habit of comparison. This doesn't mean you stop growing or pursuing goals. It means you stop tying your happiness to how you measure up against others. Moving deeper into our journey of letting go, we encounter another hidden source of suffering: the endless quest for approval from others. Think about how many decisions you make based on what others might think. The clothes you wear, the car you drive, the career you pursue, even the opinions you express. How many of these choices are truly yours, and how many are influenced by your desire for approval? This dependence on external validation is like building your house on shifting sand. One moment you feel secure because someone praised you. The next, you're devastated because someone criticized you. This roller coaster of emotions leaves you constantly vulnerable to others' changing opinions. True peace comes from finding a more stable foundation for your sense of worth. Notice when you share good news or an accomplishment. Are you sharing from a place of genuine joy, or are you seeking likes, comments, and praise? There's nothing wrong with celebration, but when your happiness depends on others' reactions, you've given away your power. Try this experiment. The next time something good happens in your life, savor it fully before sharing it with anyone. Feel the inherent value of the experience itself, independent of others' recognition. Our authentic inner values often get buried under layers of conditioning about what we should want. The wise ones teach that looking inward reveals what truly matters to you, beyond social expectations. Spend some quiet time reflecting. What would you do with your life if no one would ever know about it? What activities bring you joy even when no one is watching? These questions can help you reconnect with your genuine motivations. There's a profound freedom in acting without seeking recognition. The ancient teachings speak of the power of anonymous good deeds, acts of kindness, done with no possibility of credit or praise. Try this practice. Do something helpful or generous today without telling anyone about it. Notice how different it feels when your action isn't tangled with the hope for approval. Setting boundaries around others' expectations is essential for living authentically. You don't need to explain or justify your choices to everyone who questions them. A simple "this works for me" is often enough. Remember that disapproval from others usually says more about their own fears and attachments than about your choices. The opinions that matter most come from those who truly know and care about you, not from casual acquaintances or society at large. Even then, their perspective is just one view, not the ultimate truth about who you are. Cultivate relationships with people who appreciate your authentic self, rather than those who only validate you when you meet their expectations. Silence can be a powerful teacher in overcoming approval seeking. Consider practicing periods of quiet contemplation or even a social media fast. When you step back from the constant stream of external feedback, you create space to hear your own inner wisdom more clearly. Many have found that after even a short break from these influences, their decisions feel more authentic and less driven by others' opinions. As we continue our exploration of what to quietly eliminate from our lives, we come to something that robs countless people of their peace: excessive worry about the future. Have you noticed how much of your mental energy is spent imagining scenarios that haven't happened yet and may never happen at all? The human mind has an amazing ability to time travel, to project itself forward into imagined futures. This ability can be useful for planning and preparing, but it becomes a source of suffering when it turns into constant anxiety about what might go wrong. The wise teachers have always known that peace is found not by eliminating uncertainty, but by changing our relationship with it. Notice how your body feels when you're caught in a spiral of worry. Your muscles tighten, your breathing becomes shallow, and your stomach may clench. This physical tension is your body responding to dangers that exist only in your thoughts. By becoming aware of these physical signals, you can catch worry earlier before it consumes your attention. When you notice these sensations, take a deep breath and gently bring your awareness back to the present moment. Many of us believe that worrying helps us somehow, that it prepares us for the worst or even prevents bad things from happening. But honest reflection reveals a different truth. Most worry is unproductive. It drains your energy without changing outcomes. Ask yourself, of all the things I've worried about in my life, how many actually happened exactly as I feared? And of those that did happen, was my worrying helpful in dealing with them? The practice of present moment awareness is a powerful antidote to future-oriented anxiety. Try this simple exercise. Fully engage with whatever you're doing right now. If you're washing dishes, feel the warmth of the water. Notice the soap bubbles. Hear the sounds of plates touching. When your mind wanders to future concerns, as minds naturally do, gently guide your attention back to the sensory experience of now. This isn't about forcing your mind to be still. It's about repeatedly, patiently returning to the present. There's a fundamental difference between thoughtful planning and anxious worrying. Planning happens when you're calmly considering what steps to take. Worry happens when your mind runs in circles of what if without moving towards solutions. You can plan for the future without living in fear of it. When making plans, focus on what's within your control rather than trying to account for every possible variable. Developing trust in your ability to handle whatever comes is far more valuable than trying to predict every challenge. Remember times in your past when you faced difficulties and found your way through them, even if imperfectly. You've been resilient before, and that resilience remains with you. The wise ones teach that this confidence in your basic ability to respond to life, whatever it brings, is a key to inner peace. The natural world offers profound lessons about relating to uncertainty. Watch how trees bend in strong winds rather than rigidly resisting. This flexible strength allows them to weather storms that would break more rigid structures. Similarly, developing adaptability in your approach to life, being willing to adjust your course as circumstances change, creates a resilience that rigid expectations can never provide. Having examined how worry pulls our attention into an imagined future, we now turn to something that anchors us to the past: resentment. These lingering feelings of anger, hurt, and bitterness toward those who've wronged us can become heavy burdens we carry for years, sometimes decades, without realizing how much they're weighing us down. Think about someone who hurt you in the past, perhaps a friend who betrayed your trust. a parent who failed you, or a partner who broke your heart. Notice what happens in your body when you recall this person and the painful event. Your jaw might tighten, your breathing might change, or you might feel a heaviness in your chest. These physical sensations are signs of how resentment remains alive in your body, long after the actual event has passed. Holding on to resentments is often compared to drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. The truth is that most of the people we resent have long since moved on with their lives, unaware of how we're still suffering. Meanwhile, these unhealed wounds affect our health, our mood, and even our current relationships. You may find yourself projecting past hurts onto present situations, reacting not to what's happening now, but to old, unresolved pain. The first step in releasing resentment is simply acknowledging what happened and how it made you feel, without judgment or minimizing. Many of us were taught to get over it or let it go before we fully recognize the impact of what occurred. True healing begins with honest acknowledgement. This happened, and it hurt me deeply. This validation is something you can give yourself, regardless of whether the other person ever acknowledges their role. The practice of forgiveness is often misunderstood. It doesn't mean saying what happened was okay, or that you need to reconcile with someone who hurt you. Instead, forgiveness is an internal process of releasing your grip on pain so it no longer controls your life. One helpful approach is to recognize that hurtful actions usually come from others' own suffering and limited understanding. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it helps you see it more clearly, without the distorting lens of personal offense. Try this simple forgiveness practice. Visualize the person who hurt you and silently say, "I release you from the debt I feel you owe me. I free myself from the prison of this resentment." Notice how your body feels as you say these words. If strong emotions arise, that's natural. Just breathe through them with compassion for yourself. This practice may need to be repeated many times before you feel a shift. Accepting what cannot be changed is a profound form of wisdom. No matter how much we wish things had been different, we cannot rewrite the past. This acceptance isn't resignation or defeat. It's a courageous recognition of reality that allows us to redirect our precious energy toward the present and future. Ask yourself, what quality of life do I want now? How much longer am I willing to give this past hurt power over my happiness? Transforming pain into wisdom is perhaps the most empowering way to deal with past hurts. Every difficult experience contains lessons that can deepen your understanding and compassion. Someone betrayed your trust? You've learned the value of discernment in relationships. Someone rejected you? You've developed resilience and self-reliance. These gifts don't justify what happened, but they honor your capacity to grow through adversity. As we continue our journey of letting go, we come to something that might seem surprising: the attachment to our own opinions and views. Think about how strongly you hold certain beliefs about politics, religion, the right way to live, or even smaller matters like the best way to load a dishwasher. How much tension and conflict in your life comes from gripping these views too tightly? The wisest teachers throughout history have recognized that clinging to fixed viewpoints creates unnecessary division and suffering. This doesn't mean having no perspective at all, but rather holding our views more lightly, with the humility to recognize that our understanding is always incomplete. When we approach life with a more open mind, we create space for growth, connection, and genuine peace. Notice what happens in your body when someone challenges one of your deeply held beliefs. You might feel your chest tighten, your jaw clench, or heat rise to your face. This physical reaction is a sign that you've moved from simply having a view to being attached to it as part of your identity. When a belief becomes fused with your sense of self, any challenge to that belief feels like a personal attack. This attachment turns conversations into battles and closes the door to new understanding. The practice of mental flexibility begins with curiosity. When you find yourself reacting strongly to different viewpoints, try pausing and becoming curious. What might this person understand that I don't? What experiences have shaped their perspective? This shift from judgment to genuine inquiry doesn't mean you'll end up agreeing with them, but it opens the possibility of learning something new. Often, we discover that different views aren't entirely wrong. They're just incomplete pieces of a larger truth. Deep listening is an art that few master, but all can practice. The next time you're in a conversation about a sensitive topic, try this experiment. Focus completely on understanding the other person's viewpoint before formulating your response. Don't just wait for your turn to speak while planning your rebuttal. Instead, listen so carefully that you could reflect their view back to them in a way they would recognize. This practice alone can transform contentious discussions into meaningful dialogues. The middle way teaches us to navigate between extremes. Most complex issues don't have simple, black and white answers. By embracing nuance and complexity, you free yourself from the exhausting position of having to defend an extreme stance. This balanced approach doesn't mean being wishy-washy or having no principles. Instead, it reflects a deeper understanding that truth often resides in the integration of seemingly opposite perspectives. Remember that your viewpoints, however strongly held, are shaped by your particular experiences, cultural background, and the limited information available to you. Another person with different experiences and information will naturally see things differently. This recognition fosters humility, not the self-deprecating kind, but the wisdom to know the limits of your own understanding. Such humility is actually a strength, creating space for continuous growth rather than defending what you already think you know. Moving forward in our journey of letting go, we now turn to a habit that silently erodes our potential and peace of mind: procrastination. That persistent tendency to delay important tasks, whether it's starting a project, having a difficult conversation, or making a necessary change in your life, creates a peculiar form of suffering that most of us know all too well. Have you noticed the mental weight you carry when you've been putting something off? There's that background tension, that subtle cloud of unease that follows you even during activities that should be enjoyable. This is the hidden cost of procrastination, not just the practical consequences of delay, but the way it fragments your attention and drains your energy. The wise teachers have long understood that peace of mind comes not from avoiding difficult tasks, but from moving through them with presence and purpose. The roots of resistance often lie deeper than simple laziness. When you find yourself repeatedly putting off certain tasks, pause and look beneath the surface. What feelings are you avoiding? Perhaps it's fear of failure or judgment, or maybe the task seems overwhelming. By recognizing these deeper causes, you begin to address procrastination at its source rather than just battling its symptoms. This awareness itself is the first step toward freedom from the pattern. The practice of small conscious steps has transformed many lives caught in cycles of delay. When a task feels overwhelming, try breaking it down into pieces so tiny they seem almost trivial. Don't worry about finishing the entire project. Just commit to writing one paragraph, organizing one drawer, or making one phone call. These mini actions bypass the brain's resistance mechanisms and create momentum. Once you've started, continuing often feels surprisingly natural. Connecting with your deeper purpose can transform tasks from burdens into meaningful expressions of your values. Ask yourself, how does completing this task serve something I truly care about? When you file your taxes, you're creating security for yourself and contributing to societal welfare. When you have that difficult conversation, you're honoring authenticity in your relationships. Finding meaning in necessary tasks doesn't make them effortless, but it provides the motivation that mere willpower cannot sustain. The practice of compassionate discipline offers a middle path between harsh self-criticism and undisciplined drift. Creating supportive structures in your life-specific times for certain tasks, Clear workspaces, accountability partners, isn't about forcing yourself into rigid patterns. It's about setting up conditions that make it easier for your best intentions to manifest. Think of these structures as riverbanks that help channel your energy toward what matters most to you. As we reach the final thing to quietly eliminate from our lives, we come to something that underlies many of the others: the fear of imperfection. This fear shows up in countless ways. The project you never start because you worry it won't be good enough. The idea you never share because someone might criticize it. The risk you never take because you might fail. For many of us, this fear becomes a prison that keeps us from living fully. The perfection trap has a particularly painful irony. In trying to avoid the discomfort of making mistakes, we create the much deeper suffering of an unlived life. Think about it. Which would you regret more at the end of your journey? Having tried things imperfectly, or having never tried at all because you were waiting until you could do it perfectly? The wisest teachers throughout time have understood that a life of growth and meaning requires embracing our imperfect nature rather than fighting against it. When you notice yourself hesitating because of perfectionism, try bringing gentle awareness to the physical sensations of this fear. Perhaps there's tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, or tension in your shoulders. By recognizing these bodily signals, you create a small but powerful space between the feeling and your reaction to it. In this space, you can choose to act despite the fear, not waiting for it to disappear completely. Accepting your humanity means recognizing that mistakes and failures aren't evidence of your unworthiness. They're simply part of being human. Everyone who has ever created something meaningful, learned a new skill, or grown as a person has done so through a process that included missteps and imperfections. The master painter has created thousands of paintings they weren't satisfied with. The wise elder has made countless errors in judgment. These aren't failures of character. They're the necessary steps on any path of growth. The practice of non-judgment frees us from the exhausting habit of constantly evaluating ourselves and our efforts as good or bad. Instead of immediately labeling your work or behavior, try simply observing it with friendly curiosity. This is what happened. This is what I created. When you remove the layer of harsh judgment, you can see more clearly what's working and what might be improved, without the emotional storm that usually accompanies self-criticism. Finding beauty in imperfection is a profound shift in perspective that many wisdom traditions celebrate. The Japanese concept of wabi-sabi recognizes that impermanence, incompleteness, and imperfection are not just inevitable. They're what give life its poignancy and beauty. The crack in the bowl, the wrinkles around your eyes, the slightly imperfect note in the music, these flaws create character, depth, and authenticity that perfection could never achieve. Remember that perfection exists only in our imagination. It's an ideal that reality never quite matches. Even the most seemingly perfect achievements or objects reveal imperfections when examined closely enough. By releasing the impossible standard of perfection, you free yourself to engage wholeheartedly with the beautiful, messy reality of life. This isn't lowering your standards, it's aligning them with the truth of human experience. Dear friend, we've journeyed through these 11 things to quietly eliminate from your life, and I hope you found insights that resonate with your own experience. Remember, this isn't about making dramatic changes overnight. It's about gently, consistently letting go of what no longer serves you, creating space for genuine peace and joy to emerge naturally. Each small step you take, each possession you release, each boundary you set, each moment of self-compassion you practice is a meaningful movement toward freedom. The path isn't always easy, but it is always worth walking. If you found value in these teachings, I invite you to share this video with someone who might benefit from it. Sometimes the most compassionate thing we can do is to pass along wisdom that has helped us. By subscribing to this channel, You'll join our growing community of seekers supporting each other on this journey of growth and awakening. Until next time, may you walk with lightness and clarity, gently releasing what weighs you down and embracing the spaciousness that remains. Thank you for walking this path with me today.